Chris Brown, Leon Thomas, Fallin. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It, Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. I thought we could just do a morning episode. It's been quite a while since I've kind of got up in the morning and just, decided to record something. So here we are. I saw this song drop last night. I also checked it out last night, but I also checked it out again this morning just to confirm my thoughts, to make sure I wasn't too woozy last night. I wasn't too much into staying up all night. So, you know, we got Chris Brown, and Chris Brown is dropping his new album this month. May. May has started officially now, and apparently Chris Brown's dropping his album, and it's going to be like 23 or 4 tracks long. It's called Brown, and, you know, as y'all know, I'm a big fan of Chris Brown. I love this guy's music. There is problems with Chris Brown's, music, especially his recent stuff, but I think, ever since his last album, he's been on this different run, and his last album was really fucking good, really nice. There wasn't too many tracks where I was like, all right, this just feels like a filler club song. No, there was less of that and just kind of more of R&B and more of good ass Chris Brown music that was kind of in there. So this album is already Brown. Like if It Depends is on there, if Holy Blindfold is on there, if Fallen is on there, if tracks like Recently, if Obvious is on there. Sorry, I had to really think about that one. There's so many that's already come out, for Chris Brown's new album that I don't even know. If these tracks are already on this album, this might be the best. This could be possibly the best newer Chris Brown album. So, this one's featuring Leon Thomas. Leon Thomas, he's pretty good, pretty fire, you know, sounds really good most of the time. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about Fallin', starting off with this instrumental. This instrumental is actually kind of stacked. I'm pretty surprised. Now, it does got that kind of Tennessee whiskey feel to it with the drum style, the guitar style in the beginning. But I do like how as the song goes on, that guitar actually gets to come out and, you have a solo at the very end, which sounds really fire. I like the slight switch ups, those cool ass symphonies, sounds that, show up on this beat too. Just makes this beat feel really full, makes this beat sound really fucking fire in my opinion, when you have those goddamn elements in there. So I overall really do enjoy what I'm hearing from this instrumental. I like all the different sounds. And for somebody who loves, the older R&B sound, when you can hear live instrumentation, I will say this lives up to the live instrumentation. This isn't going to AI and saying, "Hey, give me a generic, R&B beat and this is what they can cook up." This is live instrumentation. This is stuff that you can feel in your soul, which I really do like and enjoy. And as y'all know, I love R&B, and if you're actually doing it right, if you're actually, really giving it some love, showing with some live instrumentation, and, really adding those elements, it's my favorite genre in the whole world. And I will kind of be a little biased about it, if I really do enjoy what I'm fucking hearing. And what I'm hearing from this instrumental is absolutely fantastic. I love this instrumental. I like the guitar solo at the end. It sounds really fucking fire. The drums sound really good. I like the slight drum switch ups that you get on here too. It doesn't feel like the same drum loop, it feels like motherfucker is really drumming on them damn drums, which sounds pretty fucking fire. So this beat is really fucking good. Chris Brown in the beginning sounds pretty good. I like the vocals. I don't know if I was gonna like, kind of the lower tone. Sometimes I like his lower tone, and sometimes I don't like his lower tone. I'd say this actually does work with the instrumental style that we're having on here. And then Leon Thomas is providing some really cool background vocals, just really helping out the, Chris Brown verse. And then once we get to the hook is really good. I like the Fallen hook, and I like those background vocals. They all kind of sing together, and I do like the, they're going crazy in the background. Now, it is a little background heavy. That would be my only complaint about this hook, is that it is a little background heavy. So I guess if you don't really like that, and I'll say, you can do background heavy stuff if you actually do it right. I think it's better If you let the feature kind of go crazy in the background too, it just, makes the feature, provide a little bit more to the song, makes it feel more full. So, as long as it's like that, and I'm not really complaining that much because you get a Leon Thomas verse, you get another Chris Brown verse to end off this song. So this song's not really relying too much on the background hook, which I do like. And let's get into Leon Thomas. Leon Thomas overall, his verse was pretty simple. There wasn't any major vocal switch ups. No flow switches in my opinion, but I say, overall his verse sounds pretty good. I like the vocal style. I like the singing. I like the flows. I think overall Leon Thomas kind of did his thing on here. Nothing crazy. Nothing where I'm going like, holy shit, this is fucking fire. It wasn't like, Leon Thomas was on a Ty Dolla Sign track recently in 2026, and that track, he was, really expressing his vocals. He was really, switching it up. There's none of that. It's kind of him more going crazy in the background. So overall, Leon Thomas sounds pretty fire on here. And I do like that final rendition of Chris Brown on the final verse. He does that little different flow switch, which sounds really fire. He does that different vocal style, which I do like. He sounds like that more in Obvious, which Obvious just has that addicting feel to it, and this definitely does have that. And I do like how the rock solo comes in at the final rendition of the hook. It just makes the hook feel not like the same hook that you heard in the beginning, which is pretty fire in my opinion. So overall, when we talk about Chris Brown, Leon Thomas, Fallin, I really love this instrumental. This instrumental is really fucking cool. Leon Thomas really did his thing in the background. Also, had a pretty good verse, and I really love Chris Brown's vocals on this song. So overall, I'll easily give this track an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, guys. What y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day. And I'll see y'all later. You have a good one. Yeah, guys. Bye.